Hey, hey, welcome to Kaala Radio. I have a beer, I'm happy, my soul is at ease. So let's cover it with a little bit of Black Tar with Guevna with the song Conspiracies from their first album, Conspiracies. Okay, welcome back to Kaala Radio.
Hello.
It's Friday night, and for all you lovers out there, we're going to start talking about Visual K.
Are we?
No, we're not. No, we're going to talk about the visual language.
Yeah, no, that's actually, I didn't think of that. That's the way to describe it, I think.
Yeah, I think so, because it is like the Japanese scene. It's very, very interesting. Just
Or experiential language, maybe, right? Which visuals.
I have no idea what you just said.
Yeah, but I mean, visuals play a big part into it, but it's more than just what you're seeing, kind of thing. Because actually, that's one thing that I think Japan is kind of on like the business level, I guess, is really, I mean, look at, if you say Japan to anybody who isn't in Japan, they'll probably immediately start thinking of what? Anime and sushi and geisha and samurai and sky tree and all of this stuff. And that's image. So we're pointing it out. This is what this equals. And that's not, I mean, it's not that those things aren't part of, you know, the cultural entity that is this country, but it sure isn't 100% of it, right? It's probably more like maybe 1% or something.
It's sadly not sadly, it's gladly one of the things that when we want to do our travel thing and all that kind of stuff, and you actually do want to see that, it's easily accessible. But I kind of, before we go into that, I mean, I kind of just wanted to explain to people what let's stick to Tokyo, the Tokyo metal scene is like.
Yeah.
Because I think there's two distinct areas of, like we came into this saying Visual K, which is not underground.
No.
It's like burgeoning pop, essentially.
Well, I think that probably Visual K is probably not something that everybody knows what. So what's Visual K?
Okay, Visual K. The reason I wanted to talk about this quickly is because I read an article about it recently, and I read about something called Mitsu.
I don't know this.
Oh, good.
I'm interested.
Great, good. Okay. So, but anyway, Visual K is, I'm trying to think of band names because it's not something that I know.
X-Japan.
X-Japan,
That's the band
okay.
that started it. And honestly, it's like, they're not my cup of tea. They're not, I won't say they're awful.
The front cover to that first album, though, is terrifying. It's like the bodice, the big-breasted woman in the bodice, and then she's got like the X cut into her chest. It's like pretty bad. But it is, and this is not disparaging it, it is pretty boys playing fairly easy to listen to.
It's glam
like
rock.
Yeah,
I think it's glam rock,
basically.
right?
Modern, very, very modern version of glam rock.
Yeah.
Mitsu is because the followers of Visual K are fanatical, especially around like the Noah in Shinjuku. There's a couple of Visual K shops where you can just go in and buy your own.
There?
Yeah. You can go in and buy like you know your favorite artist thing. Mitsu is the concept that if you pay the band a certain amount each month,
okay,
you get to have various experiences with the band. So the interview I was reading was this girl paid, I think it was $500
a month. Whoa. All right.
And she would get phone calls from the band, but then also she could like contact the band and say, I can't get tickets for your concert. And they would be like, yeah, fine, we'll get you concert tickets. And that goes all the way up to one girl who was paying like $5,000.
Jeez.
And she basically got to sleep with the
What?
member of her band. And I can't remember the other term.
Mitsu, I've never heard of this.
But there was a darker term where it was basically, these guys can't play instruments, but if you pay them enough, they'll sleep with you.
Yeah, so it's prostitution.
Yeah, like total prostitution. That is very different from the underground scene that we are talking about in Kaala Radio. The Tokyo underground scene, I mean, start off, do you think it's a big scene or no? I was thinking about this today because I wanted to ask you this question.
That's a good question.
It got me thinking, does anywhere, maybe someone like Germany, I always say has a really good metal scene, does anywhere have a huge underground scene? I mean, I know that's almost an oxymoron.
No, I don't think it's that big. It's very tightly knit. It's very well connected.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and I mean, honestly, any human that sees a crowd of, call it 100 people or more, is thinking, oh, this is kind of big. So it's a little bit difficult to gauge because it's not like we have, a counter or a list of, oh, here's Takashi and here's, Ayane and here's, number 1,553. We don't really know. You see a lot of the same faces, but recently I've been seeing really a lot of new faces in a lot of different and new places too.
Okay.
Ruby Room being one of them.
Yeah, Ruby Room's great.
Right, and that's mostly due to Ryo and what I would call probably business acumen, which is he's throwing free concerts there. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
and
yeah.
it's an all night club, so after 11 p.m. now you get like the clubbers and people want to get wasted on Friday or Saturday or whenever.
Quite an American concept, as I found out recently.
Which
The fact that you go there, you watch a rock concert or a metal concert, and then after that, they open it up again for like another
Really?
concert, like a hip hop concert, something like that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, doing like two concerts in the same venue on the same night.
Yeah. So he does.
Because, God, like some of the places I went to, like finished at like 3 in the morning. Like the bands would finish at 3 in the
I mean,
morning.
we've done gigs like that, but they were really awful. You remember playing? Where was it?
Oh,
Not
God.
Jam, Shinjuku Jam on
dude.
Halloween.
Yeah, that was the worst thing ever.
There were what, 3 people in the audience. Somebody was passed out on the ground. Oh my God. There was like one creepy guy in the back, and then just like an open, just this gaping maw of a non-audience.
Yeah, but then coming from that.
Well, we did play with
before
Satanic
that,
War
yeah,
Master.
we played with Satanic War Master, Funeral Sutra. I think Cruisen were there,
Yeah,
and
actually.
maybe another band as well. And that was awesome.
Yeah, that was a lot
And
of
then
fun.
going from that, like doing the slog all the way across Tokyo,
Literally. Yeah.
the whole way across Tokyo, to 4 or 5 people in Shinjuku Jam, which
I mean,
is
we
a
didn't
smelly
pay
place.
for it. Well, the thing about
Well,
Jam,
we did pay
right?
for it, just not monetarily.
Yeah, the thing about Jam is it's a nice venue. The venue itself is good as a space, as an event space. It's really, really good. It's just really, really poorly run, and the upkeep is no good. And like, I think the only time that I had ever seen any band before there was Goldstolz.
Oh my God, you're kidding.
Yep.
Jeez.
GTK was there, and I won't tell that story, but it was a good night.
I always remember rehearsing there, and I think it was you. It may have been Tom actually, just doing like, this place is moldy. I can
Tom.
feel it in my lungs.
That's definitely Tom. Are you
Yeah.
kidding me? I smoke. He doesn't.
Yeah.
He's
yeah,
talking
okay.
about his lungs.
But I feel like the Tokyo Underground is actually really small. That it's. Because this is a big city. There's a lot of people here.
Well,
There's
what,
a hell of a lot of people here. But
the official count is 13 million living, but when you look at people commuting in for work, I think it swells to something like, I want to say like 18 million or something
I wouldn't be
on
surprised.
like Monday through Friday,
Yeah.
like on a weekday. So yeah, there's a lot of people.
but
This-
the fans we get, the fans that are here, not the fans we get,
Mm.
but like the fans of
the music,
the
and
underground
life.
stuff
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
they are, like any fan, I think, across the planet, very, very passionate about what they do.
Right, and I mean that makes it such, I mean, like a worthwhile effort. And I mean, there's the language element that we were kind of talking about previously, but also with when we play live, be it a band that we're in or when we go see one, right? I'm starting to become of the opinion that it's not, at least not just the music that I'm going to see. I'm not like saying, here's 2,000 yen, give me a product, right? What I feel probably a lot of people, most likely subconsciously anyway, are thinking when they're going to shows is it's this experience, and that's why I said experiential language, experiential language, because there's, even if you can't speak the language, like Japanese or whatever, you're listening to music that you do like. I mean, there's I hesitate to call it fashion, but I mean, the fact of the matter is we all wear battle jackets and all this stuff. So that's something that you fit into. Of course, most people are drinking, and there's like circle pits, and people are actually communicating without established language.
Yeah.
Right? And so
Yeah.
it's this thing, like, it's an experience. That's why you go there. That's why you're interested in this stuff, because it provides you with something that is out of the norm. It's adventurous a little bit. You know, it's different. It's exciting. It's dangerous. And I'm doing air quotes around that
Yeah,
word.
because it's totally not dangerous.
Yeah. But that's why it takes a certain sort of person, I think, and especially in Japan, which is quite a strict society, right?
Yeah.
Like, I remember talking with Ryo from Evil, who is probably 22 this year, So I probably talked with him when he was like 22 years ago or so.
Tall guy.
Yeah, kind of tall,
Yeah,
long
yeah,
hair.
yeah.
About like, well, hell, man. Like, you started this band when you were 19, which means that you were probably still in high school. And I know how schools work around here. So how did you even figure out, if you're not talking to somebody, there weren't any like visual cues? Because you're all wearing like seifuku, you're all wearing like school uniforms and stuff. So you don't have, like a Megadeth t-shirt or whatever on. So how did that happen? Like, how did?
What is your Megadeth thing tonight?
Because I said it before, and I'll
Yeah,
just say
okay,
it again.
all right.
Right.
Stop wearing Megadeth t-shirts, people.
Yeah, no, please don't. Dave must. I can't say that. I can't say that.
Dave must do that.
He
yes.
must do that, and I won't say what. Stop being a jerk. But yeah, so even with him, he was with Yo. He was saying, well, no, like we kind of just like I just started going to concerts, and my dad is what he said was like really into Deep Purple and like Black Sabbath and rock and roll, and that's how he ended up getting into it. But for the most part, these experiences that you have, not just at concerts with the type of people who go to these concerts, but also at, Kubine from Self Deconstruction throws the Grind Hanami, like the cherry blossom viewing party, right? So it's just a gathering of kind of like-minded, open-minded, curious, I think, just about anything, individuals who, when they get together, they have cool conversations. So yeah, it's asking a lot, I think, to say this music that we listen to, this lifestyle, this philosophy, if you want to call it that, like, hey, you, everybody, just do it, because not everybody's going to pick up on it. So it's not a matter of it just not being well known enough. It's a matter of, no, actually, there are probably a lot of people out there, men, women, children, whatever, who these kind of mentally exploratory ideas and events and sounds and conversations are sort of difficult to get into, and they're scary. So I don't want to touch it. Which is why the scene here just, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if you compared, the scene in Munich or New York City or wherever. I bet they're probably around the same size.
Yeah, this is the thing I was thinking of today, because I've always felt, it's such a small scene here, but I mean, that's what defines the underground, is that it is a pretty small scene.
Yeah. I mean, it necessitates that you be open to new things.
Yeah.
Right? And most of the time that's, really fast drum beats or, turn it up to 11 kind of stuff. But at the same time, it's also, with bands like LSD March, that's just gorgeous acoustic, like psychedelic folk. It's really slow. It's recorded on probably like probably like a 4-track tape deck. And very sparse drums, very sparse guitars, very sparse vocals. And it's really nice. And that too is also extreme, right? There's, I think, this misnomer of extreme equals fast, loud, and vicious.
Oh, I think that's definitely there as well. Yeah. I can't help but think back to the early millennium, so like 2000,
Aughts
2002.
is what they're referred to as.
The aughts, and seeing what became of Doom, and I mean essentially Doom, because obviously
Doom metal or the band Doom?
Doom metal.
Okay.
Like
It's very standardized now.
Yeah, and there was a horrible period where it became so easy to do. Like, there were so many Doom bands, and some of them were so boring. And obviously at the time when you're in an airplane getting very high.
Well, like 200,000 feet? How
many? Something
up
like
there were you?
Yeah, pretty high. And you appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah.
Just a good soundtrack for flying in an airplane.
Flying very high.
And hello, Captain. And I remember like landing for a long time and thinking, wow, most of these bands are crap. Like they're really, really crap. But then bands started coming along, like Indian.
Yes.
Who I fully fully worship. I consistent was Neurosis as well. I feel they just got better.
In a couple episodes ago, you described Neurosis as like the most boring metal. But then when you finish the album, you can't listen to one song. Like you finish the album and it's like, oh my God, I was in there for years.
Yeah.
And now I'm better. No, I totally
like
understand that.
the flotation tank in Altered States.
Yeah,
It's
right,
like,
right.
Whilst I was listening to that album, I turned into
a reptile.
like monkey man and smashed some dogs to pieces. But I think we're at a good place now. We've definitely in Japan we've got some great bands coming out,
and some new stuff too. Because a number of conversations I've had in call it the past month have sort of been kind of complaining about, well, specifically doom metal definitely came up about how, well, it's like all doom sounds totally the same.
Wrong.
Right, and that's not the case. But I kind of know where they're coming from, and they were sort of asking the question of, like, where do we go now? Well, what is going on right now? Nobody's ever quantified exactly, like, okay, the doom metal scene and the death metal scene and the extreme underground and all that stuff. So they were asking about, okay, our position right now, what is that? And I think it's bad, but let's talk about it. And then also, the more interesting element, I think, was, well, where do we go now? And one thing that always comes up in these conversations is, just like you were saying in L.A., at the record shops,
San Francisco.
Or whatever, it's California.
Yeah.
There was no Japanese stuff. There probably wasn't any Chinese stuff either. Asian stuff, Malaysian, right? It's just not there.
Funny enough, Malaysian stuff they had quite a lot in
kidding.
In the foreign import section. Yeah.
Wow. But the thing that I just recently struck upon was, okay, the sound of the music, right? There's that. But there's also the geography of it. And most of the countries that are currently producing most if not all of the really big names are, well, what? It's America, it's Europe.
But how can they fail to? They're massive places.
Right, but the interesting thing is now, in our experience within the Japanese underground, is that, yeah, sure, terms like metal are, like, people understand that word exists. They probably don't really understand what it means precisely, but it's something that they've heard. Not the music, but the term. But I'm willing to bet that Asia and you know, basically non-Western countries don't yet have kind of a cultural understanding or cultural experience with something like underground culture, right? Meaning that it remains that group of people and that group of sounds and group of bands and all these things that actually can change something. They're not just being badasses. They're actually saying something or doing something, right? Because now in the States, even if you say Cannibal Corpse, I mean, we talked about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right? It's accepted. It's there.
And we also later, after that, found out that they had nothing to do with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
They totally did. Their video was in it, right? And then they overdubbed it, so visually they were present, I think.
No, they weren't. We literally looked that up afterwards.
Ace Ventura.
Ace Ventura.
But no, like in the States, in Europe, generally speaking, metal and extreme music and lifestyles and stuff are kind of accepted. They're not extreme anymore. They're just another version of cool or whatever.
And they keep banging out the same recipe again and again.
Yeah.
Funny enough, that reminds me of, because black metal became very stale for a while. Mm-hmm. I think, personally, it became very, very stale and unexciting. But then that's a very easy thing, because obviously, definitely you as well must have been growing up at the time when it was like, oh, don't listen to black metal, because they are killing each other at the moment. Mm-hmm. But funny enough, a San Francisco record shop eventually put it out. It took a little kid in Asia. Many of you probably won't have heard of this album. It's called The Haunted House by Phya, Phya, or I think maybe Pyha. I can't remember which one. Mm. And that was that's like one 14-year-old child.
What?
And it was, I mean, obviously it didn't set the world on fire, but it was like a really good step forward in terms of like, wow, this is horrendously dissonant. So black metal definitely went in two different directions. Like one followed the whole kind of like, this is the template, this is great, and then another lot of them veered off.
Well, so isn't
that's what underground music should be.
And
like,
isn't that why black metal came out in the first place? As kind of saying, hey, death metal, screw you guys, you've got this template established. And so, to my knowledge, I don't think there's anything that's yet, once black metal got kind of, cookie cutter and everything, what's the thing now that's saying, hey, black metal, screw you guys? Like,
well, I mean, you mentioned this earlier with LSD March, just the fact that people keep looking for the faster and faster and thinking that's extreme, and it's not extreme. There's plenty of forms of music. Like some contemporary classical music is way more extreme, like way more difficult to listen to. We've got, there's a million grindcore bands out there, but how many of them are actually decent grindcore bands? Not that many. Fair dues, you know what? Many of them might actually run my motor if I was feeling like, I want to listen to a grindcore band right now.
Right.
The other example is, like, I think even for me in something like Wretch, it's not like we play original music, because we definitely do not. I'm just playing stuff that I really kind of actually want to play, and
that happens to be what this ends up sounding like.
Yeah, but the thing is, there'll always be those people who are the great example I remember, and it's nothing to do with metal. Is I remember reading about Aphex Twin,
who I do quite like.
I love Aphex Twin. I think he's great. And he would basically buy magazines that were talking about the London club scene, which when he was young, he couldn't get access to because his parents were saying, like, oh, you can't go up there. And it was like, he lived in Cornwall, I think it was, and couldn't afford to go up there.
Cornhole.
And so he decided to look at the descriptions of the music and start making the music that he thought they were describing. And he basically was actually making really terrifyingly weird music like that. And that harks back to the British punk bands. Like when you listen to someone like Ramones, which, come on people, they were basically the first punk band. You listen to a band like, let me think of some of the bands, the British bands that came out. What's the one with The Damned?
Yeah.
And they were reading Sniffing Glue, I think it was called. And, they were saying like, oh, well, we were reading about this punk thing, but we didn't know actually
what it was.
We didn't know what it was because we couldn't buy it. So we basically just did our own version of it.
And it comes from there. It comes from kind of that.
And when you listen to The Damned, they are way more articulate than the Ramones ever were. And I love the Ramones, but... Yeah, it is this thing of like the extreme underground. And is it extreme, or does it sound like every other band on the whole?
Yeah, and bringing it back to Japan too. Some of the songs we have playing tonight, by like Omowari-san, Endon definitely, Ameri BC. They're, I can't call it big. Endon's getting big as a band, as a singular band.
And now that I think about it, I saw Endon in Amoeba as well.
They're way... okay. Their live show is great, and they produce... It's like power electronics, like...
You're not allowed to say like.
Powered electronics, black hardcore, or something. Like, I don't know what to call it. And it's really kind of like with Funeral Sutra too. It's really, really dense, incredibly dense.
September 24th, people.
Yeah, Blood Rite 12 at Moonstep. But yeah, with them, Omowari-san, Ameri BC, there is, and Melt Banana possibly. Granted, they're from 1991, so they've been around for a while.
Yeah, but that was an amazing time where that was actually a brilliant time for music because there was so much. Like, whoa, look at all these things coming out. There was MTV, like,
and it
really
still was interesting.
And, yeah, they were just kind of like, well, we want to do this, and we're going to do this. And they've got a great formula for it.
But, yeah, there's been this mixing. I'm tempted to call it sort of a new I don't even want to say new wave, just a new genre, maybe. And I can't describe it like I was trying to. But Endon does it. Omawari-san, definitely. I'm so bummed that they broke up late last year.
Okay.
They had their vocalist is the nicest guy, a really, really excellent artist, but on stage, kind of like with Set Star Sept. Like, meet him off stage, and wow, what a great person! Like, you're really nice, and you're multilingual.
She's so nice talking to me about my Kindle, and then
yeah, right. And then they get on stage and are suddenly literally ripping holes in the fabric of space and time.
Yeah. I always thought of I think I wrote this on my website of what when you watch Set Star Set live, it's like staring into the sun. Like
Yes.
It really is so powerful. You're almost scared to keep on looking at them. And
definitely don't make eye contact.
Yeah. Dude, I always feel guilty of Ayane. Is it Ayane from Yeah. From Self Deconstruction, because whenever she's out in the pit, like she's screaming at people.
Yeah, she's got a very commanding presence.
Yeah, but I can't remember if I mentioned this last time we did the radio show. But I always just stand there with my hands behind my back, just like, yeah, hi, great, and she'll come up and she'll like scream in my face, and I'm like, yeah, I'm literally not scared of you at all. I'm just watching you. I think this is a great show. And actually, the drummer's really interesting, and so's the guitarist. And I always feel a little bit, maybe, should I take a couple of steps back just to, make it feel everyone else is walking back, and am I just being a dick right now? Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll be able to ask her soon.
Well, you've got a chance tomorrow night at Eartham with their...
which I won't be at, because I'll be in a tummy. Woo!
What are you doing? Oh, God. Right, playing golf.
Yeah, playing golf.
Yeah.
Playing with my balls.
With 18 holes.
Yeah.
All right, cut it off there.
Yeah.
All right, so that's Kaala Radio. I think we're done.
All right. Let's sign off quickly.
Let's sign off.
Okay, people, thank you very much for listening tonight. Like we said, it's Obon. Everyone is off, like back with their families. This is kind of like the Day of the Dead kind of thing in Japan, but they have a month of the dead, which is even cooler than whatever country you come from. So, it's just Matt and I just riffing on stuff, slightly tired because it's the end of the week, and I hope you got some kind of merit from this. We've got some tracks coming up. We've got some Endon, we've got some Omawari-san, some Amari BC. These may have even played whilst we were talking, because Aaron is going to go home and cut this to shreds.
Yes.
But you know what other bands we're going to have? We're going to have Baboon, Elephant, and
the Monkeys.
Yeah, and the Monkeys. And also, we're going to do a little bit of nepotism as well, because we're going to play Wretch's Mass Homicide, which is my band, and obviously Matt used to play in that.
Yep.
And then we're going to play Baphomet, which is Pablo from last week's band. And Matt is now secretly whoring himself into Baphomet as well.
Yes, that's true. Drive a hard bargain.
Yeah, and then it's his hair.
Yeah.
And then Chito Shizuku. Fingers crossed if we can get that track. But thank you very much for listening. And we are going to sign out with a load of cool tracks. Kaala Radio, signing off.
Goodbye.
See you later.
See ya. Since you existence And that, folks, was one of the other leading doom acts in Tokyo's relatively new and definitely up-and-coming doom metal scene. That was Nepenthez playing Cease off their first EP, Ascent. You'll note that you may recognize that gruff voice and that very, very groovy guitar. Well, folks, if you're a fan of Church of Misery, that is Negishi and Stoll from Church of Misery. Up next, we've got a relatively new and very, very young black metal band by the name of Crusum playing a song called Strength and Blood.
Yeah.
That fun little number was a song called Parasite by an excellent punk band from around town called Digraphia. Up next, we've got a very natsukashi, or I forget the word in English, but what is it? Nostalgic, there we go. Piece for me. This is Itai playing Rotten to the Core off of Rotten to the Core EP. If you're around Pittsburgh in about 2004, 2003, and you saw a red Vibe driving around and heard this song, well, you've seen me before, and I definitely had my eye on you.
This song, this life,
Dogo just now, who are quite an interesting and one of the newest, if not the newest, black metal bands around town. They feature both members of Zombie Ritual, which is an excellent band, and for you old school hardcore fans, you'll know the name Iron Fist Tatsushima quite well, or at least you should. The very famous drummer of a little band called Gizm is also on the sticks with them. Up next, we've got Miasma Death, which features the vocalist of Dogo as well. He's in quite a few bands. Really quiet guy. You never would guess that he has such a fearsome stage presence. But he certainly does. This is Hikari, Blind to the Light, by Miasma Death. Enjoy. Okay, now we're at one of my favorite segments of tonight's show. We've got a very special band playing some very special songs, 3 to be precise, coming up next. You've heard their name before. I don't think you've heard them before. I can't remember. Up next is an excellent self-described avant-garde grindcore outfit by the name of Self-Deconstruction. We've got 3 songs off of their very new full-length, well, by full-length I mean, I believe 23 minutes and 27 songs, album by the name of Wounds. Check it out. It's pretty intense.
you working for?
How was that for a blistering maelstrom of shrieks and noise? I know I like it. I hope you guys did too. So now we're going to get into a little bit of the interesting and noisy experimental aspect of the Japanese scene. Up next we've got a band called Endon, that's Endon, that's making some pretty serious waves right now. This song called Pray For Me is off of their first album by the name of Mama. now we've got a band that sadly broke up just, was it late last year or anyway, recently. Wow, what an intense band. I can't really describe their live show, but it was scary. This is ironically named Omawari-san for any of you who speak Japanese. That is more or less, Neighborhood Patrol, playing a kakucho off of their Commuter LP, which I believe was their first. Check it out, it's pretty wild stuff.
letzten Tag, wo es noch Geräusche gegeben hat auf der Welt. Bin ich raus. Am letzten hören. Und alle. Begegnet und wir haben weiß nicht.
And that last band you just heard was actually the vocalist from Omawari-san's new band, Ameri BC. And that track was titled World Voice Off. I'm not really sure what that means, but I'll take it. Following that, we'll have a band who I actually have a very interesting story about. Put briefly, I hope a lot of people on Reddit find their way around Japan, and specifically Tokyo's underground music scene. I was hooked up with a group of people And that was Baboon. And speaking of baboons, look at that mustache. What happened to you?
Hey guys, it's Aaron. I'm back.
Yeah, from a long trip in America, I gather.
Yes.
Okay. So what's up next?
Looks like Elephant by Akumani Sensei.
That is incorrect. We
Aw.
are on Baboon. Invader 17. Enjoy.
Hey guys, it's Aaron again. You just heard Elephant by Akumani Sensei. Before that was Baboon by Invader 17.
Incorrect.
What?
That was actually Elephant, the band, playing Akumani Sensei.
Oh, did I get those mixed up?
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
take two.
No, I like that. Let's keep it. Who's up next? Who's up next?
Let's keep the take where you look like an idiot. Yeah, okay. And after that is Wretch playing Mass Homicide. I enjoyed this song
It's a good
even
one.
before I joined the band.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
I believe you wrote that song, didn't you?
I wrote both the guitar and the lyrics.
Ah.
So enjoy the song that Matt Ketchum wrote from Pittsburgh called Mass Homicide. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Let's keep it. You look like an ass, I look like an ass. Now we're even.
The entire world's a graveyard, and we, the birds of prey, picking at the bones.
What was that we just heard?
That was actually Baphomet, the new band that I play in now with Pablo.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, and a
We
guy.
hope to have him back on the show very soon.
Yes, hopefully. Not sure when, but soon. That was War Ritual, which is the first song that I ever learned of the band. It's quite simple.
Oh, very
But
good.
that's what I like about it.
Can't wait to hear it.
That's
I have
good.
not actually heard much Baphomet at all.
Hopefully you'll hear some new stuff coming up. So this is the last song on the playlist.
Do you want to do thank yous? Anyone you want to thank? Any shout outs?
Well, I mean, of course, Taka with Studio Chaos.
Naturally. Follow Kaala on Twitter. What's the Twitter handle?
Kaala, JP, Kaala, JP.
Yes. Or just Kaala.jp on the interwebs.
That's correct. That's correct.
Also, or find us on Facebook.
Yeah.
Or just go into Google and type Kaala. By now, I think we've overtaken every Indian person on that bizarro
actually,
show
we
that
have,
shares
we have,
our
we
name.
have, that's correct.
So I think we're in the top 5 Google searches now.
Yes.
Fighting against millions upon millions of Indian people.
So, on that note, here's the last track of the night by a band I recently discovered called Chito Shizuku, which means more or less blood and droplets, which I think is kind of neat.
Really?
Yeah, playing a track called, if I'm not mistaken, Fukaku Shizumu, which means sink deeply.
Alright, guys, you heard a lot of great music, and if you have any questions, just go to Facebook or comment on
ask us.
SoundCloud. Come to Tokyo, find us on the street, hit us with a beer bottle, and take us to your hovel where
Your
you will
master.
torture us until we give you the information.
Don't do that.
Preferably one of the first 3.
Yes.
Alright, good night!
See ya.
君と僕の海を探してきらびる波の狭間の